everyone. I want to welcome you to the next Scale Adventure podcast. We have Suren Reddy. Thank you for joining us. So, Suren is basically a co founder and CEO at Cloudly. Cloudly is a Salesforce implementation partner company. They have been running it for the last 9 years. And Suren also been in the area of IT and Salesforce and really a tech expert for the last couple of decades. I'm going to hand over to you. If you can tell us just a quick background of who you are and what kind of clients do you work with at Cloudly?
Selvi, first of all, thank you very much for having me on this podcast.
You're welcome.
So this is Suren Reddy, and I am the CEO, co-founder of Cloudly. And the company started in 2013. So I do have 2+ decades of experience in big enterprises and different customers in different sides. Because I was a employee, has grown from developer to manager to director to
Right.
the senior leadership roles, and followed by made a choice to change and be an entrepreneur around the time frame of 2013. And since then, what happened is first 3 years, 2.5 years, I happened to work as a consultant, being part of the company again, starting venturing and all that, right?
Yeah.
I had to pay my bill. So
Yeah,
that's what,
absolutely.
yeah. So I did that.
I'm
And
so glad you mentioned that. Not a lot of entrepreneurs mention that because at the end of the day, you have to pay the bill. A full-time job gave you consistent money. You had a job. And when you're getting into entrepreneurship, you've got all the other benefits, but you don't know where the money is coming from. So yeah, great.
So first 2.5 years, I worked at Facebook, LinkedIn, and Tipco. It's a good companies where I learned a lot, and that helped me what needs to be done for my organization as well. Now it's a little bit mix of high tech, cloud, and networking. You can have a lot of
Yeah.
different things. So in a nutshell, I do have a vast experience of India, US, Singapore, UK. I was there for a while, and I ended up here. First 2 years, I was in the East Coast. Then in 2000, I moved to Bay Area, that is Sunnyvale, California. Since then, I'm here. Yeah, I'm into this journey.
Suren, with all the expert. And as we go, we will talk some parts of the technology and the solutions that you guys provide and all of that. But maybe we can look at what kind of audience do you target? What kind of companies find you more useful? And what kind of challenges have you noticed? Because I realize at some point, the challenges remain the same. Different industry, different businesses, the challenges remain the same. So maybe you can point out to one or two challenges you've seen repeatedly as you work with these kind of companies.
Yeah, you pointed out well, challenges remains the same, but magnitude varies. So
Yeah.
based on the size of the company, based on the complexity, it varies. So two challenges. One, definitely selection of the correct partner, that who has done that, who in the past, and what experiences they have and kind of resources they have there to you can choose the right partner in the sales ecosystem. So that's one. Second is internal. Again, if a customer or client you take it, they had to do thorough planning, without budgeting, without kind of a push from leadership team. What happens is user adoption and also the project cadence will not go that well. So that's
Yeah.
another area. A lot of times what happened in our projects, we scope it, we budget well, and say if it's a 3 to 4 month project, in interim, what happens, users priorities change. And second one we have seen is some of the decision makers, leaders move on to different place. That's
Yeah,
nobody
it
takes
as
the
well.
ownership. Correct.
Right.
And it was forever, and it goes in cycles. And at the end, it comes back to our discussion, and
Yeah.
or becomes 6 months because of whatever the gaps.
Mm.
So we have to have the risk mitigation plan. That's all I can say. One from the customer side, other from system integrator standpoint, whether they have done it or they have good resources who can make it
Right.
happen and go extra mile to support the users to
Yeah.
make a success story.
Okay, great. So I like these areas of challenge we are looking at. Maybe you can tell us how do you solve these challenges in the past with
Right.
probably an example of a client, not too technical. If you can give us a nutshell of how did you solve even one of the challenges of your client?
Got it. Yeah. So again, you're right. One of the client makes it a little easier, but I
Yeah.
just don't want to take the easier approach. I'll think the biggest one, what happened in this implementation cycles. You go plan it well, a little bit of repetition from the earlier one where you have the roles where you have project manager of the customer talking to project manager of our side, BSAs on both the sides, and subject matter expert here, BSA, business systems analyst, and tech leads, team leads talking to team leads, and developers and QA, and kind of various roles. So the challenge comes when the roles are not matching or not available. to meet the time there. What we went ahead is we put in a thorough process on a weekly status and bi-weekly cadences. In the weekly status, if something is going a little beyond, or we used to use the color coding thing,
Love it.
green, yellow, and
Love
red.
it.
Yellow means we'll try to see how that can be addressed with leader level. And if it becomes red, immediately we'll take it to the stakeholder level. So that
Love
way
it.
cadence will definitely put us in a place. And also what we suggest and what we do is we'll try to adjust or kind of the last time or kind of what can be done to speed up so that we can still meet the end goal of meeting that
Delivery by
deadline
time.
for that day. So that's one thing where it's more communication is always better. Having least communication or low communication is a concern for both the sides, and also having the proper alignment and don't have to wait for the meeting to have another meeting, right? We have now great tools like Slack and collaboration tools. Even I went to extend if they are comfortable in using WhatsApp or even SMS and just ping. And if you are stuck on something, ask for help. Don't suffer in silence. Just ask
Yeah.
so that you don't waste anybody's time.
I want to actually review what you've said because there are a bunch of insights here, right? It's important to put these insights in processes or at least in steps because I feel like there's a lot of value in what you said, Suren. One about the benefit of cadence and structure, and as simple as the traffic lights progressed measure. I love colors, including from my calendar to record. I love colors. I want to know what is done, what's not done, what is in the red, and what needs to be woken up and shaken up. And you also said alignment. It's such a key thing to do as the company, any company scales. Alignment is such an important aspect when everybody's on the same page. I love that you mentioned that. And you also said over communication. This is something I tell my team. It's okay to have over communication than no communication. Let me tell you if you're talking too much and say, stop updating me. But otherwise, you should consider that I always want an update and go on about it. I love the over communication part. There's always abundance of it so that there's no confusion, there's no misunderstanding. I also love the last point that you mentioned. Please take help, take support. You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to solve the problem yourself, whether in the team they're implementing or with the client. Over communication, taking help is such a good insight. These are like lessons in being able to work with a great team. So I thought it was important for me to take what you said, put it in a simple way because there is so much value in what you said. So I love that. Now let's go to the second problem that you solved.
Just before going on to the second problem, I just wanted to add one, right? The qualified resources and the qualified staff on both the sides. It's not just a certified resources
Right.
on Cloudly as a SI partner side. Just make sure, yeah, they do that good job. And same thing on the other side also. You expect same thing, like a person knows about the business process thoroughly and is a decision maker. If not, they go and get the needed inputs immediately. So I have seen one same line, smaller companies, you don't have enough people, one person doing multiple roles, right?
Yeah.
So there is a bigger chance of a little bit of failure in that model where if that person is either not feeling well, takes a week off, it goes
Yeah.
off and all. That's
Yeah.
one. Second is if that person won't update the entire other team members about what's happening. So the requirements changes, scope creep happens and all that. So that's the reason I added multiple people from the customer side where everybody knows the status and what's happening in that game plan. So once or twice it happened in the first 2 or 3 projects, then we definitely made sure that stakeholders are all involved in status going out. And if there is any that need to be done. Let me go on to the second problem where the challenges are more of dynamic environments and process changes are rapid. And it used to be any ERP or any bigger implementation used to take 1.5 years, 2 years and all that cycles, but it's gone down to 6 months, 4 months, but still in that now process is changing every week, every
Yeah.
2 weeks. And agile is the new thing. So not new thing, doing in a smaller chunks and show the result and take it forward the right approach with that they like. We are doing the right thing on both the sides and see if that makes sense. So that's another area where we always divide that in small chunks and have the multiple proof of concepts and show and tell where you get more feedback and all that. It has its one downside where they keep changing requirements and all that, but it's better to be giving the valid, means usable system to customer than build something which they anyway change it later and user adoption will be low. which is not a happy path for any people. So definitely make sure that is addressed. If there is a real big change as part of this smaller change when we are doing it, that will be addressed as a change request or something just to incorporate. And on the need basis, we'll add additional resources to do it within the same timeline to meet the, again, go live.
Yes, you also deliver on time.
So yeah,
I feel like it's definitely coming across in the way you've shared how you guys operate within your team. Just start of what you're sharing, because I don't think these are words you use casually unless you're using it in the team. So I love that. Just how you guys are working and how delivering on time is probably part of the whole promise, right? Not just delivering well, but delivering on time. Okay, here is something that I want to actually ask you. Think of it almost like a hack, because I'm sure you've met a lot of businesses where they've bought Salesforce license already and they don't know how to use it. If we have to give them a hack in 2 areas, what do they have to stop doing? What can they start doing?
yeah. So stop means if there is no clarity, they had to stop basically from their side, or even from anybody's side. If there is no clarity, then stop and debate about it. And I'm using the word debate for lack of better word. And also that gives a solid outcome. When you debate, actually people talk about and throw multiple options on the table and you pick the best option. So that's what I encourage, and within the team as well. Just don't come to a conclusion or a solution then and there thinking that this is a solution, and always internally go talk and what all the 3-4 options that available, pick the best option available, and also check with the customer whether that option makes sense or not, because at times you may think this is a better option, but it may not be for the customer. So that's where the stopping is. I'll go to the start side of it. What you have to start doing is from the get-go of the project, if somebody is not understanding. And what we have done as part of the practice, train the trainer is one. And where as we grow, we try to educate, show them what are we doing, and also train them. And we recommend them to go and complete their certifications on customer side as well, to make sure they get up to the speed by the time the project comes, and they can maintain on their own instead of relying on external resources. So we always recommend them to own, or at least we want them to co-own with us, so that what happens is it becomes a successful journey as we grow together. What happens is the process is changed very often, and definitely the consulting companies are more savvy on what's happening and all that. But on the technology side, a little bit kind of client side, maybe weak, but process side, they have the strongest. So they know exactly what they wanted. So we had to complement that one. That's where it's a co-owner kind of model. What happens is by the end of the project, they know what is in it and they'll use it. They do the testing. They know exactly what needs to be done, so that user adoption becomes easier. Otherwise, at the end, if you take one go, big bang approach, that complicates, and sometimes the investment goes into shell. We just want to make sure that won't happen, so that the investment customer is making and we are making will not go waste. Just wanted that to be a successful, referenceable, and happy project for all of us.
Beautiful. Honestly, Suren, it was really nice having you. I think your insights were very useful. It was spot on. It was also, I think, very authentic. Sometimes you can hear and there is authenticity. I think in your sharing, in about just the way you've solved the problem, just the thing that the clients have to pay attention to, I thought it was very useful. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. And I really hope whoever is watching it finds it very valuable. I know they will. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Hi, everyone.